Hey guys, we are live. Good evening to everybody. I always talk about how I work outside a lot on my stuff, not just because the shop's messy and the garage is kind of full. I mean, I enjoy working outside, but it's cold. I mean, right now it's 13 degrees. This morning it was 7 degrees Fahrenheit where I am. And, it's pretty darn cold. Um, but you do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Who's here? Christopher, hello. JD Tech, Jamie O'Hara, hello everyone. Yeah, working outside in this kind of weather, not fun, but you do what you gotta do. Let me throw a link up if anybody wants to chime in. There we go. Harry, good afternoon, or good evening, Harry. It's late for you. Holy cow, you're up late. David, hello. Yeah, I tell you, this morning it was 7 degrees, which is minus 13 Celsius, I think it is. It was cool. Hey, Craig, good evening. How you doing? Or good, actually, yeah, it's evening for you, Craig. Yep. Yeah, I mean, working outside in this weather, my father was a lineman for the local electric company, so being outside in this kind of weather sort of comes naturally for me. I enjoy it. Christian, how you doing, brother? Hey, all right, fantastic. Those that don't know, Christian Siegler, young man, was on my channel a few times. Loves his Buicks and working on his cars. Welcome, Christian. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Um, Oh, 48, JD. I wish. Like I said, I like the cold, but I do love the snow. You guys probably saw my snow angel video for Mrs. Pate's. I told her I'd do that. Just like having fun. I've always enjoyed the snow. Snow's fun. I like snow. But working in it, that's something else. I mean, I remember a few times working on carburetors and different things with snow actually coming down. So, nice if the garage is empty enough where I could work in there or even in the basement in my shop. So K&D Scrapping. Hey K&D, how are you? But yeah, so hopefully all is well with everybody. But this weekend, my boss needs a snowblower, and we're supposed to get a major nor'easter storm. DNR. Oh, hey David. Supposed to get a major snowstorm. They said initially Sunday night into Monday and even Tuesday. Now they're saying it may hold off to Monday night, so we'll see how it tracks. But it sounds like it's going to be a decent storm. We'll see. Thomas, so hey, I hope you're okay, Thomas. I know you had a little tumble there. Hope everything's well with you. Tommy Hanlon, hello, Tommy. Hello, everybody. Throw the link out if anyone wants to join in and have some fun. I was just watching my friend Bob there, Double Wide Six, did a great video on doing needle lapping and stuff like that. I was telling everyone how I drove all the way to Danbury, Connecticut to meet my friend Mr. Generator, Mr. James Condon there to pick up a needle for a carburetor. And I had asked Bob, I said, hey, did you ever test it with a Mighty Vac to see if it'll hold? Because I love my Mighty Vac. I swear by my Mighty Vac. In fact, I even bought one for my good friend Bruce Pender up there in Canada. And hopefully that's all working out for him because those Mighty Vacs never lie. You want to test out your needle and see, hook it up, boom. I mean, I used to use a blood pressure bulb, those little bulbs with a gauge on it. That's okay, but a Mighty Vac, it's nice having the right tool. I love my Mighty Vac. So, and he did a great video. So, guys, check out Double Wide Sixes in the latest video. Lapping in a seat and a needle and restoring it in a carburetor so you don't have to drive 25 miles or try and find something that'll work. The problem I had was it was a generator leaking fuel, and it actually leaked about a quart and a half into the crankcase, and the guy almost blew the engine. So, when you have a lot of these Chanda carburetors, I even bought another one. It didn't work right, and the needle was different, so I couldn't get it to seal. So thankfully, Mr. Condon there had one that worked, and I Mighty Vac'd it, and everything was good, and haven't heard back from the customer, so I hope all is well. Christian, if let me see. Christian, you want to put a link to your channel? Actually, you know what? Only if you're a moderator can you do that. Hold on. Let's see. Hey, Mr. Milehouse, touch your nose, buddy. Let me make sure it's you. Robert, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. I did about a 14 and 2/10 mile walk today, but I paid for it.
14 mile. Where'd you go?
Well, the one convenience store I go to get my money out of my retirement check, their ATM had not been replaced yet. So I walked to another store. Well,
Wait,
long story short,
you're only like
mm,
30 years old. What do you mean retirement check? What's that all about?
I had to retire from the state. I had to, I didn't have no choice. I got 25 years. So,
Nice.
mm,
Okay. Why? What did you use to
yeah.
do?
I worked at the Georgia Industries for the Blind. We packaged flatware for the military. Make sure the boys that protected this country had something to eat with.
There you go.
We were a subcontractor. Well,
MREs,
they
what do they call
yeah, something like yeah. But how I said, they came in and uh September of 2014
them?
and said they were closing the packaging department down. So we did what orders we had to do.
Uh-huh.
Those of us who could stay went back in sewing room. Then it started going downhill.
Uh-huh.
Then they told me one day, "Oh, sorry, you're no longer able to draw unemployment." I said, "Okay, well, time to put in for retirement." So
Hey, why not?
yeah, yeah,
Hold on, Mr. Stiegler, Christian. You know what? Hold on. You are now, Christian. Go ahead, throw that link out, buddy. You are now a moderator, Christian. You earned it.
yeah.
Hold on, Christian. Yeah, put out your channel, Christian. I made you moderator, so you're good. And then Thomas Andrew made you one as well. I'm surprised I don't have more moderators. Hold on. So what else is going on, Robert? How's everything going with you? Is it warm down there?
Yeah, well, today it was kind of cool. I was having to wear a complete one-piece jumpsuit, but I had to go to Walmart and buy this
Oh,
Dremel 3000, that Powercraft, the height and blade engagement lever.
uh,
Well, they welded a nut on it. It does fine when the blade's off, but when you go to put it in the first and any of the notches after that, it won't fit. So I gotta grind that nut down just enough to where to slide in. So I'm like, yeah.
yeah, I just made a bunch of moderators here, so a couple of you guys that I know pretty good, I made some moderators. So anyway, Christian, you're a moderator. Put your channel link in there so people can enjoy what you do there, young man. And Phil, I made you a moderator as well, and a couple other guys. So yeah, it's chilly here. I woke up this morning, Robert, at 7 degrees, so it was a little.
Oh God. Oh.
Yeah. So your fingertips sort of. In fact, we got an inch of snow last night. I didn't even realize it. I woke up this morning. It was all white outside. I was like, wow, you know. Hey, Will. Yeah, another great channel, Will. If you want to throw in a link to your channel, Will G. This Will is amazing. Will, I think he just got a certification for outboard motors, but he does. I don't know if you've seen Will's channel, Robert. He can fix anything.
No.
Will is like the master of small engines.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
Phil. Thanks for doing that, Phil.
What's that guy's name that fixes them generators?
Oh,
Yeah.
James Condon. That's his channel, James, Mr. Condon there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
watch
only lives maybe 20, almost 30 miles from me, so it's not too bad, not too far away.
Yeah, that last video where he took that Briggs off that generator and put that Yamaha on. I'm like,
Oh yeah. In fact, I have to work on one of those this weekend, the Yamaha RD360, exact same engine. A guy
yeah,
wants to do it, but someone's telling me on some of those old rigid brand generators with the Yamaha engines that the gas tanks tend to get rusty and rot out, and fuel delivery problems and stuff like that. So it ought to be fun.
yeah. But I'm like, that man has some skill to be able to take a
Oh yeah,
rigid string in. But the thing was, when he had to take the power head off, I'm like,
yeah. But you know what's amazing about James with and I say this sincerely as well. He's a computer guy. He's not a small engine guy. He's a computer guy. But I tell you, you'd think he did small engines for a living because of his videos and all his, just the stuff he knows. He's unbelievable. I had the opportunity. to go to his place and work with him. And I tell you, the stuff he knows about generators, I thought he was in the business. And if anyone's
Yeah.
looking for anything on the generator repair, go see James Condon's channel. If someone wants to throw out the link to his channel, he unbelievable. And he's got almost, I think, like 30,000 subscribers. So, I mean, great channel. He's got a great voice. His videos are very calming but smart. I mean, I don't know how he learned all that stuff about generators, but man, does he know a lot, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and I just got through watching Double Wide Six's video where they made that special little honing tool for the
Yeah. In fact, that's why I'm on now, because I was watching Bob's video, and James had sent me the link saying, "Oh, Bob mentioned you in the video." And I was like, "Oh," because I had asked Bob in his last one where he did a little lapping with the sandpaper, the 1000 grit. I said, "Did you happen to test it with the Mighty Vac?" Because I swear by my Mighty Vac, to test out carburetors. And I think he did the video just to show that, yeah, absolutely, you use the Mighty Vac or pressure tester, whatever you have, and it works and it holds pressure. And you know what I mean? It would have saved me a 25-mile ride, because I literally drove. I literally drove to meet Jim because I had to return this generator to my customer. We could not find, or I couldn't find a needle that was the same exact dimension. I actually bought a brand new Chinese carburetor, hoping the needle would be the same so I could just replace it, and it wasn't the same needle. And thankfully, James had one in his stash of parts, so he helped me out. So thanks to James for that. Knock wood, everything's working out well. But like I said, before I will put a carburetor back on, especially a repair like that where it happened to be leaking, I definitely use the Mighty Vac to check it out, because you don't want another callback from a customer if something's wrong,
Yeah. But I sent my Poland XT to the shop. He's gonna get the carburetor worked on, get the motor pan put on, stuff like that.
Hey, Ralph.
I'm keeping it because it's gear. And I'll probably keep the Powercraft. So that Powercraft is a piece of American retail history.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a little bit of a design flaw in having the blade engagement and height adjustment all in the same thing. But, oh, and she's running now. The guy rebuilt a starter on it. He lubed it up and all that. And she fires up like a scalded dog now. So I'm like, phew. Ooh.
Hey, Robert, when do you actually start cutting grass again? You start like March, April, or when do you really start cutting grass?
Well, usually it's late March, because down here, depending on if the yard's been treated for weeds, because a lot of times most people don't worry about it. The weeds start popping up first.
Now, what do you have, like zoysia down there? Or what do you actually have, Bermuda? What do you got for grass?
Well, the yard I'm in right now is just a mixture of grass. Now, a lot of people have something kind of like a St. Augustine or whatever, but to get grass to grow here, you got to remove, I'd say, 6 inches of the soil, because it's a clay sand mix. And you talk about tough, you got to put, I'd say, remove at least 6 inches and then put a good topsoil in to get grass to grow around here.
Okay. Yeah. Up where I am, it's all clay, and it stays wet, and it tends to like rot out the roots. And I don't know. It's just nasty. I wish I had a nice thing. Brandon, good afternoon. How are you, Brandon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I went to my lawnmower shop guy the other day. Well, he is going to be putting up a 50-foot tall flagpole. So we got out there, marked the hole off. I started digging all the grass out where the place used to sell. There used to be a hardware store, and they sold rock, gravel.
Yep.
Well, he had to get out his 2-cycle auger and just drill around and then tilt it and whatever. We got the hole dug out, but now you got to get the guy that made the flagpole to come up there and drive another pole in the ground, pour concrete around it. Then they got to get a crane to stand this 50-foot tall flagpole up. I mean,
now, do you have to get a permit for that? Because I know in my town, you'd have to get a permit to put a flagpole up.
Nah.
Yeah.
But like I said, the flagpole was built at a welding shop. But I'm 50 foot tall. Oof. That joker's not gonna be lightweight trying to, but like I said, they're gonna get a crane and yeah, stick the flagpole in the other pole that's been drove in the ground, and then. But thing is, when the chain that hoists the flag, yeah, he's going to have somebody with a bucket truck every so often and they'll replace the chain. Because where I worked one day, the hoisting chain was messed up. Well, City of Griffin electric department was over there. I said, y'all mind putting this chain on that flagpole? And they did it. So
Now, is he a veteran or anything, Robert? I know a lot of veterans like the flagpoles,
well, nah, he just
Just patriotic?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like I said, because the welding shop has them do a lot of welding for him. They got a big flagpole, but the flag he's gonna be getting is a 8 foot long by 5 foot wide. I'm like, whoa. But I told him, there's gonna be people gonna ride by and quote flag etiquette. Well, if you're gonna fly,
you can't let it touch the ground. You have to take it down every night. Was it before sundown? And you can't let it touch the ground ever.
Yeah, plus on top of the fact that he says, if you're gonna fly it at night, it needs to have a light shining on it.
You have to have a light. You can't fly it in the dark. Yep.
Yeah, because when I was doing
definitely flag etiquette. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, because I told somebody one day, you can if you have a place in town, most places they have a certain box you can take retired flags to, and they will take care of them for you. Otherwise, either bury the flag or burn it. And I've had two.
Yep. You have to burn it. Yep.
And then I was trying to remember the Pledge of Allegiance, but
boy.
Yeah, that's a hard one to remember. But
I hated when the government tried to take that away from the youth of America and said, "Oh, we don't need that." Yes, we do. We absolutely Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, when I used to do the flags at work, I'd put the American flag on first. Then I would put the state flag on, raise them up.
Yep. Yeah, there's all kind. I could not believe all the flag etiquette that there is. There's actually, real etiquette for flags, for hanging and things like that, and different things.
Yeah, and then there's some homeowners associations tell you, oh, you can't fly but one flag. It's either they was telling us one Marine, you can't fly the American flag and the Marine flag. Excuse me, that man served this country and protected those people's freedoms, and they gonna tell him he can't fly but one flag? Sorry, nope. They need to step on down the road.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely got to honor the veterans. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I know of a store in Griffin. They, I just say that they from a different country. Yet they have a flagpole, and I'm like, if you're in this country, you fly our flag. Because how would you like it if we went to your country and opened up a store or something and then fly your flag? Be like, yeah. But enough ranting.
Strange times, Robert. It really is strange times,
Oh, yeah. And that one lawnmower that guy gave me with that plastic carburetor on it, that Briggs, I told the lawnmower shop man, I said, you can have it. You can do what you want to with it. I am not studying that plastic carburetor mess.
Yeah, we got snow coming. I think it was Sunday night. They say maybe Monday night, depending. But my boss is saying how he needs a thrower, and I've been telling him for about a year or so since he moved into his new house. I said, let me know and I'll find you one. Well, the other day, I think it was yesterday, we were talking about the storm coming up. He goes, "You got anything?" And I'm saying to myself, I don't really have anything right this second. So I was at my dealer over the weekend, and he said he's got a Toro in the back that he'll give me, a 622 with a blown engine. And I was like, you know what? I did the Predator retrofit on one of those I think it was a month ago or so. And I said, you know what? I'll do a retrofit. And I'm thinking to myself, it's 7-8 degrees out. I don't feel like being out in the weather doing it. There's a snowstorm coming and my boss needs a thrower. And I'm like, oh, so it looks like I'm going to be out there freezing my little, cayutes off there this weekend trying to get that going. But yeah, I could do a Predator retrofit in about an hour from start to finish. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
gonna be
yeah, and
cold.
Donnie, yeah, the Donnie Boy 73 was doing a drive disc, well, driven disc on a errands this morning.
Oh, well, I saw the video. I mean, I saw the ad for it. I didn't look at it yet. What was it? Just a regular, errands, the standard. Did he have to replace just the rubber or the whole thing?
He had the whole disc, part of the rubber, it come slap off, and there was a bunch of rubber grindings and stuff on the whatever that plate is. Yeah, he got it done, but I commented. I said, that looks like the same kind of drive disc they use on rear snappers.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing, but he
It's
said
all the same. Yeah.
he trusts the Oregon brand
Yep.
of driven disc more than he does the errands. But
Yeah,
he
but you
got
know
it
what it is though
done.
too, Robert. If these guys they have accounts with all the different companies like Stens and Oregon and Tisco and all
Mhm.
the different. Most of the stuff is all made in the same or the same shop anyway. You know what I mean? Most of the bigger brands, whether it's
Yeah.
Chinese or wherever they're getting their stuff from, it's all made in the same factories. So
Oh, yeah. And I don't know if you follow him on YouTube, but this guy over in Ohio called Jim's Landscape. Well,
I've seen it, but I don't know if I've watched any of the videos yet.
well,
Uh,
I
what,
bought these blades off. I bought these lawnmower blades off of him.
what is it? A special kind of blade or something?
Well, it's it looks to be like a mulching blade.
It's a
It's
weird
called a
color though. Was it like a mint green?
yeah. It's called a I don't know if you can see it, 810 or stem.
E10 lawn
Yeah,
razor. Huh.
yeah. But
Huh.
he said the blade was 21 and 11/16.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I measured it. It's between 21 and a quarter and 21 and 3/8 of an inch. But
Okay. It's a little smaller, but not
mm,
too
mm,
bad.
like I said, I bought both of them off of them because, and he's talking about the hole in the middle is 11/16.
Yeah, yeah.
That if that's 11/16, I'm gonna take it somewhere one day and I'm gonna run a bolt through it to see exactly what side the hole is. But I said I'm gonna find a lawnmower to put these blades on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, David Kernet's asking me about Predator engine. I don't see any real drawbacks, David, but I know Jason Pate was saying there's the two types, the 212cc, and I know Brandon, the other guys could probably comment on this, and Tampa and those guys, whoever's out there. But the Hemi version, if you notice when you look at the Predator engines, if you're in the Harbor Freight, the ones that have the rectangular valve cover, those are usually the Hemi engines. And the ones that have like the hexagon type valve cover, those are just the normal ones. The ones with the rectangular valve cover tend to run a little bit better, a little more power. But one thing I'll tell people too is I did the Predator retrofit, last month for the guy. I forgot to take the air filter out. So now that we're going to get this big storm, I wonder if I'm going to get a phone call saying, "Oh, it's stalled out." It may be icing up. I don't know. But just a reminder, if you use those engines in the winter, take the air filter out because it will cause icing. If the moisture gets up in there and freezes, it'll just starve the engine because it'll ice up. So hopefully it's
Yeah.
fine, but we'll see. Brandon, yeah, I
Yeah.
want to see some videos on that lathe, Brandon. Definitely. And in fact, mine's still my 10K is still in my garage. I'm still waiting to get that into the basement, but I've got some other stuff I got to move first. So, yeah, Phil, I think Jason was saying that the rectangular valve cover is the Hemi engine. The one that's like a hexagon or polygon of some sort, that's the one that's the standard valves. So, different cylinder head. You swap heads. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know, Brandon. There's a few of those websites out there where they hop up the those engines for mini bikes and go karts and stuff like that. It's amazing what they could do with those engines. The only thing I change, David, when I use them for snow blowers, I'll change it to a mitten grip handle so they could use gloves or mittens in the winter when they're pulling on it. Because that T handle, when you have a mitten or a glove, it's harder to pull. So I always use one of those mitten handles on a snow blower. Just makes it easier. But hey, for the money, the coupon here's the funny thing. I had a coupon for that engine. It's $125. The coupon's for $99, but the coupon I had expired like 2 weeks ago. So I called up my boss. I said, look, I want to get this engine for you. Look in one of your car magazines, because, always Harbor Freight ads in every car magazine. He found it. He actually found in his, I think it was a Motor Trend or something, or one of his car magazines, the ad that had it expires the end of February. So that was cool,
Yeah.
to 30 miles an hour. Wow, that's pretty fast on a mini bike. I don't know if I'd probably be scared going that fast on a little mini bike. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, I seen the video you did the other day where you did the snow angel. I'm like,
Well, Christine dared me. Because I tell her how I love the snow. I said, I'll take a day off of work when it snows just to play in the snow. I love the snow. I love snow. And she goes, oh, I want to see a snow angel. So I got home the other day and there wasn't much on the grass, but on my deck, I had a nice coating. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I went out there and did it. I had some fun. Nope. And everyone, the biggest comment I got though, Robert, was I was wearing my black socks. And everyone said, you don't even have shoes on. I said, who cares? I had fun. I had fun with it,
That's one thing about you guys up north is, during the summer, you got to pick the right lawnmower. Then come winter time, it's like, what snowblower do I get? It's like,
Robert, we get over 100 degrees in the summer and we get sub-zero in the winter. So they said if you want different weather in New England, just wait a few minutes because it's just crazy weather here.
Yeah, because like I said, you got they got single stage and 2-stage, and somebody talked about it was a 3-stage snowblower. I'm like,
yeah, I mean MTD has the 3-stage where it almost looks like what's that movie? Phantasm, where you have that thing with a corkscrew coming out, drill the holes in your head. Remember that movie Phantasm? That's what it looks like on the front of the snowblower. It actually has another auger that supposedly is supposed to be like an icebreaker. It's supposed to like break up thicker snow. And if you don't have the drift cutters on the side, it's saying that will break down the pile of snow and make it pull in. I'll be honest with you. To me, it's one more thing to break and one more thing you have to fix. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of them. I've fixed a few of them, and I don't know. I just think it's hype. If it was so good, Robert, everybody would be offering it. And the only people I know that offer it now are the MTD people, and we know what MTD stands for. So I'm not gonna say anything else, because even Terrell the other day was talking about MTD. So, MTD used to be a great company as far as the products, but I don't know, it just seems to me they've gone downhill a little bit, but you know what it is? They've drunk the Kool-Aid for the big box stores. So now they produce the Craftsman line of tractors instead of AYP Husqvarna. They're into it for the mass production. So, you do tons of it, you build them cheaper, and you get what you get. That's all. Supper done. Brandon, take care, Brandon. We'll talk to you probably over the weekend.
Yeah, on that guy over in New York. Well, there's 2 guys, Archie's Garage.
Yeah, Arch. Yep. I know Archie's. Yep.
Yeah. Then that Henry from Mowers and Blowers.
Mm-hmm.
That old Toro 3-game real mower he had. I'm like,
yep.
Then he had them power handles.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I thought our friend Boneyard from Boneyard Garage, he was looking at maybe buying that because he's out there on Long Island too, where Henry is, and I think he liked that. But I tell you, if I'm not mistaken, I think Henry made a few bucks off those things. I see the ads because I'm literally 10 or 12 miles from Henry over Long Island Sound. I'm across the water in Connecticut, across Long Island Sound from Henry. I could take the ferry and be there, in a half hour. But I tell you, the ad, I saw the original ad for those things where I think the woman was giving the stuff away, and I think Henry, he's made some good money off that stuff. But he had some pretty cool videos on getting that stuff running. Yeah,
because the only thing he said he wasn't gonna mess with was that water pump.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, but you know what?
But
You get a good collector that likes to collect, especially the old Toro stuff. Why not?
yeah,
There was a guy local here to me. He had an old Toro S120 thrower, which has the straight paddle on it. He
yeah,
had it still in the box from like 1970, still in the box. And he wanted a lot of money for it. But, you know, hey, if someone's a collector,
yeah.
so yeah, MTD Thomas, if you keep them well, the only thing I don't like about the MTD, to be honest with you, the 6 bolts that hold the basket onto the tractor part of the snow thrower always tends to tear the L-shaped piece of metal there where the 6 bolts are and separate the basket. So the basket does this, you know, so that's one design flaw. Their impellers generally have too much of a gap between the impeller and the housing for the impeller. So you got to do the rubber trick for the impeller to get the thing to throw better. I mean, just it seems like their quality, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's done that well.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 in the morning in the UK and Sparky's still up, and so is Tim.
Yeah.
Someone was asking me about Mr. Condon on the live stream. Mark Wiley. Mark, James sometimes will come on my Sunday stream. Um, I spoke with him literally about an hour or so ago after he actually texted me about Bob's video, Double Wide Six's video on the carburetor. I saw the ad for it. I didn't realize that I was part of it. So when he sent me the link, I see my name on there. I'm like, Ken Small Engine. So I said, let me watch that thing. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. Who else do we have here? Move to dumpster. Oh, I never heard. That's a good one. Will move to dumpster. I know made to destruct. I hear that one all the time, but move to
Oh,
dumpster.
yeah.
Yeah, move to
Oh,
dumpsters.
yeah.
That's a good one though. I like that one. But
Yeah.
I'll be honest,
No.
I've worked on hundreds of MTDs, and if you keep them clean and make sure all the bolts and nuts stay tight and all that, yeah, they'll work and it'll last. But I just find that their quality over the years, they're just cheaping out. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
That's so.
MTD push mowers are great, but when you start getting into the ride lawnmowers,
Yep.
yeah, I'm sorry, but like I said, I'm gonna keep that power crap because that's part of American retail history. Because Montgomery Ward is still around, except they're an online store. They don't have brick and
Wait,
mortar
I was
anymore.
going to say we used to call it Monkey Ward for Montgomery Ward. We say Monkey Ward, but Montgomery Ward's the stores aren't there anymore, are they?
Nope, they
Okay,
have online. No more
all
brick
right.
and mortar. Yeah.
I'm surprised because I haven't seen Montgomery Ward in years.
Yeah, it's just like back in the day, you went to Kmart
Oh, okay.
before Sears bought them out. What did you
Yeah,
see?
yeah, yeah.
You
And
saw
we all
the
know
K.
what happened to Sears, right?
Well, that guy Wally B26 that does them abandoned building
Mm-hmm.
videos.
Yep, yep.
He does not like the guy who took Sears over, because then he started. It's like he's doing that to make all his money. Closing Sears up and closing Kmart up, but
Yep.
but
Well, remember the one thing about Sears, though, Robert, and I read an article on this a while back. Sears, when they started out, Sears and Roebuck and all that, if you notice, they always had prime locations for their stores.
yep,
Okay, what people didn't realize was the people who ran Sears were into real estate.
yep,
So what they did was they made sure they bought up prime real estate in all major cities around the country. So that way, ultimately, if anything ever happened, they were left with prime commercial real estate so
yep,
that they figured they would hedge their bets and have good real estate that they could sell if anything ever happened. So, but the problem is the stores themselves and everything else. Hey, I grew up with Sears. I remember every Christmas looking through the catalog with my great aunt and uncle. We'd look for toys and stuff like that. They always had that big, it was like a phone book, the catalog, the Sears catalog. And
mm-hmm.
we used to love looking through it every year. I'd look through the power equipment and stuff like that. And I just loved reading through the Sears catalog, but now with Sears being gone, I miss it. I mean, we used to have a Sears hardware store by us, and I used to love going in there because they had any kind of hardware you needed and stuff like that. But now they're all gone.
Yeah. Now, back in the early 90s. I was looking through a Sears catalog, and they were selling Kubota lawnmowers.
Oh,
And
really?
I seen this Kubota. It was a hydro.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I want one of them. So I got it. Well, lo and behold, that joker cost me $270 something a month for a year and a half. But I finally got it paid off. But that was the first hydrostatic lawnmower I ever had. And I'm like, foot drive. I'm like, I like this thing. No,
Wow.
gear lawnmower, you put it in the gear and then you leave it. But with a hydro, it's just, the further you push the pedal, the faster it went. Like I said, but it had the Kubota built, I think it was a 13 and a half or 14 horse engine, had chrome plated piston rings in it. It was a good mower, but somebody bought it because I decided to go get a Ford GT65 3-cylinder diesel garden tractor. Oof, that joker. I had a few issues with it. One day I changed the oil in it, and that thing wasn't starting. I'm like, what the fool's going on? I'll call Uncle up. He said, take a rag, soak it in gasoline, stick the rag in the air cleaner. Still didn't do nothing. I kept looking. I'm like, oh, there's 2 wires off. I plugged one up. It started doing something. I plugged the other thing up. It fired right up. It was glow plug wires. I'm like,
There you go. Hey, our friend Mr. Condon's Mr. Generator's on for a second. I know a couple people were asking about him in the stream tonight. So he just chimed in for a second. So
yeah. He kind of like that guy.
It was funny. We talked about the video that Bob did, lapping in the needles and all that. James actually found me a needle that we believe is the correct one that I needed. He actually found it with a Sten's part number available in the aftermarket. So I don't need one right this second, but I've got the part number. I may order one just to have it because if it happens in the future, it may be something I'd like to try because I think it was only like $10, so it's not too bad. But definitely what Bob showed with the lapping and the 1000 grit paper and the lapping compound. I've always used the Q-tips with lapping compound in the seats with the drill. I've done that in the past to correct rotted out or corroded seats. But I've never done the trick with the actual rubber needle end itself. Every time I've tried to play with rubber needles on those, they usually pop off or fall off. You have to be delicate with them, But I know a lot of people were asking me too, when you look at some of the tips on these rubber tip needles, especially on steel, carburetors, Zamas, Walbros, they have like a Teflon coating, like a silvery gray coating on the rubber. And that's what really seals. And sometimes you'll see when a ring wears in, it'll be a dark ring worn through that Teflon coating. So if you sand it, yes, you'll be truing up the surface to that 60-degree angle. But by wearing off the Teflon, are you causing a problem? I don't know. But I'll be honest with you, if you're in a pinch and your needle's leaking, definitely do what Bob did. I think it's a fantastic. I've never thought of doing that before with a piece of 1000 grit. That's a hell of a tip. So I'm definitely gonna try it.
Yeah. Plus
hey, Jeff Skews. Hello, Jeff.
He used dielectric grease on that sandpaper too.
Yeah, well, to get the lapping compound out, he wanted to clean it out, and that stuff's really sticky. So yep. You just have to watch though, because carburetor cleaners will swell rubber, especially if you're using a Briggs or Tecumseh with the rubber seat. It will actually swell. In fact, I'm going to do a video. I bought a half dozen Tecumseh seats, and I want to do a video showing the effects of the different carburetor cleaners on the seat over time, sort of like Toro did with the fuel video he did over the past year, showing how fuel went bad or whatever. I want to do that with carb cleaner and the Tecumseh seats to show you how they swell and the problems they cause, because people just take carburetor cleaner and figure, hey, it's the magic elixir, throw it and spray everything. don't spray your gaskets and don't spray your needles and seats because it'll swell. It'll put the float up too high. It won't work. It just not good. Not good.
Yeah. Now, the other day I was talking with somebody. I was considering putting, say, 10% Seafoam and 10% Marble Mystery Oil in a little bottle. And then when I go to change the oil in my lawnmowers, especially on my opposed twins,
Yep.
minus that from the oil, and then pour that in there. So yeah. I don't know. I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying to keep these opposed twins going. Because them are hard to find engines. That's for the three I got. I love them engines. The way they sound.
Yep. The only thing with those engines, Robert, is if the carburetors aren't right, those Nicky 2-barrel carburetors, if they're not right, it'll drive you crazy.
Yeah, well, was it that guy, Ellis Mowers? He said there's one way to identify if it's a Nicky, because there will be 4 screws holding the faceplate on
instead of 3.
Yeah.
Well, the fuel pump. But no. On the Nicky, I'm trying to think. No, you sure it's that, or is it the you're talking for the fuel pump diaphragm, right? We have the 4 screw versus the 3 screw. That front cover. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like I said, because it's getting to the point. Briggs and Stratton, they gonna run themselves in the ground unless they say
they're buying everybody though, Robert. They're buying up all kinds of companies. They own Simplicity, they own Gravely, they own Murray. I mean, they own a bunch of stuff.
Well,
they own a bunch of stuff. Stens. No, Stens is Aaron.
Yeah, because see, Gravely got bought out by Aaron's because my lawnmower dealer, he does Gravely.
Yeah, Aaron's is Gravely and Stens because Aaron, Stens is owned by Gravely as well, and Aaron's, yeah.
Yeah, because for a while, that place in Michigan that made the hurricane blowers.
Yep.
Right on. They were great. Well,
those are the big ones you stand on, Robert. The big ones.
Yeah.
The
top of the line model is the it's either the Z or the X. It's 8,500 CFM. But
wow. Yeah, but isn't that about $10,000-$12,000? They're pretty expensive.
Oh, most definitely. But see, the thing was, they used Briggs and Stratton engines. Well, for some reason, Briggs and Stratton bought Ferris. And then they bought Hurricane out. I'm like, I hope they didn't buy that company out and then tell all them people at the Michigan plant, sorry, but we're transferring all this to New York. Be like, y'all out of a job. Be like, I would love
to. They did that with Snapper. They bought Snapper, and Snapper was in Georgia. One of my subscribers was telling me about the plant in Georgia that builds the Snappers. Now, if you look on the website, it's saying the Snapper mowers are built in New York and Wisconsin now. So they obviously shut down the plant in Georgia, which is sad because they've been there for so many years.
Yeah, it's in McDonough, Georgia. We used to ride by.
Yep.
We ride by on a Greyhound bus, and they had a Snapper lawnmower out there going around and around in a circle. And then they had the Snapper store. Yeah, but the Snapper store also sold steel 2-cycle equipment. But I'm like, the older Snappers, you couldn't beat them with a stick. But then they went out, Jim Jackson over at Jim's Fix-It shop.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Snapper.
Yeah, he said what they call the turtle shell snappers.
Yeah,
he said Snapper learned a real hard lesson. Go back to the old design.
Yeah, they came out with that old design again this year. They call it the 200 RER. They should have just called it the Snapper Classic. But it's called the 200 RER. They're bringing it back. I have one. I love mine. I absolutely love mine.
Man, it's just like that Series 5 extra tough I have.
Yep. Yeah, I think mine's a Series 15, I think it's called.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have my lawnmower shop get it, and he's talking about he might be able to take parts out of that 9-horse that was on that yard bug and put it in that 11-horse, because that 11-horse with it had the exhaust valve rotator and stuff.
Yep.
I should have known when I first heard that engine. I should have told him, said, "Look, Bubba, you need to go in this engine, because beside the oil leak, I could hear just a slight knock."
Yeah.
Because, Breeding Stratton, the only thing's gonna save them is what they putting on these big fancy commercial mowers. The fuel injected, but you
see more fuel injected. You really do.
Yeah, well.
Well, you know what I heard yesterday on the news, which is sort of alarming, and I didn't really care for it. Did you hear that General Motors now is saying that all of their production vehicles as of 2035 will be all electric, no more gas or diesel? Yep, 2035. So 14 more years, and you won't see any more General Motors gasoline cars or trucks. I mean, that's crazy.
And then they trying to get away from diesel engines altogether. But there again, in the lawn care field, one day you're going to wake up, oh, I got to go charge the batteries on my electric lawnmower before I can go cut grass commercially. I'd be like, nope. Gas engines do better. That battery mess, I'm sorry, but it's just, until they get the technology right, I'm sorry, but that battery-powered lawnmowers, sorry. When you got 3 acres to cut, you better hope the batteries are charged up, and you better have 2 mowers. Cut an acre and a half a piece.
Phil was talking about this Furman generator. I've never worked on one before, but I tell you, the guy who designed it must have been colorblind. Oh my gosh, look at that thing! You won't be able to lose. You won't be able to lose that thing, boy. Look at the colors on that thing. Holy cow! Looks like a Halloween project. Holy cow!
Oh, was it?
Furman generators. I've heard of it, but I've never seen one or had to work on one. Phil, you talked about the $500 order. I saw your video the other night, and I'm saying to myself, I'll drop $500 at my dealer like that. I mean, I bought 2 Kawasaki cylinder heads last week. They were $208 a piece, bare, for 2 bare cylinder heads. So, it was $500 is nothing when you're talking about parts and stuff. It really isn't.
Yeah, because a lot of these lawnmower repair shops say they need one part, but to get that part, the order's got to be $500. I'm like, unless you pay expedited shipping to get it without having to spend the extra $500 just to get that one part. I'm like, But
Oh, James, touch your nose, buddy. Let me make sure it's you. There we go. Hey, everybody. Here's our friend, Mr. Condon, Mr. Generator. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Generator man. Hey, you and that guy over in New York, the small engine mechanic that goes around working on generators. Y'all ought to get together, because he got some classics up in there. I'm like, man, he's making me feel old. Some of them classic generators he's got.
Yeah, he's working on. Well, sorry, go ahead.
No. I said, what do you got working right now? Anything?
Right now, I think you know what I got.
I think I do.
And 2.
Yeah, if people don't realize that, I talked to Jim the other day, and I showed him an ad for a couple of generators that were pretty reasonable, and he ended up picking them up, and hopefully everything works out good with them.
Yeah, just like that video you did the other day where you took that Briggs engine off and put that Yamaha on there. I'm like, this guy. Woohoo.
Yeah, Jim, I haven't heard back from the guy with that rigid. Remember I told you he wanted me to fix it last weekend?
Yeah.
He hasn't called me back, so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But like I said, that small engine mechanic over in New York, I said,
yeah, he's in New Jersey, right?
New York or New Jersey, one or two. But he's working on.
Touch your nose, Jeff. I want to make sure it's you.
He's working on a 1940-something model Briggs and Stratton engine, rebuilding it.
Oh,
I'm like,
what happened?
Hey, Jeff.
He's got some nice old engines. Hello.
Yep. But
So what else is left on those, Jim?
Hey, we
You got a
still
lot
running.
left on that on those Generacs?
We're in the home stretch, actually. I just have to drill out the pilot jet on one of them, and I think we'll be good. You know, it's just they're missing some parts, so we needed a new airbox, roller valve, a few other things, but just minor stuff. I mean, they were listed pretty much for parts or repair, and I wasn't expecting much, but they both actually are pretty good.
Now, let me ask you, though, when you fix those things, because I know you do tons of them all the time, how fast can you turn those around? Is there a good market in your area for those?
Not as good as I'd like, unless it's a storm, you know, or something.
Okay.
You know, someone needs it for construction, someone was food truck, you know, some sort of thing. But it's they're hard to sell, so I have to be kind of picky when I buy them, because if I buy one that's old, no one's going to buy it. Or I should say they're not going to buy it, but you're never going to make anything off of it. And even the ones I have now, I price them probably below what you could get for them, but I can't wait 8 weeks to get
that's true.
Fair asking price. I have to turn them around, or else I'm going to be buried in these things.
Now, Phil, Small Engine Nation, he was wondering, have you ever seen those Furman generators? I haven't.
Which kind?
Firman? Furman brand?
No, I have not.
I showed a picture of one. Hold on. There's one right here. There's a picture of it. It's kind of a crazy yellow and blue. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I'm sure it's just, I mean, there's a lot of the China clones. They just wear different badges. I'm sure it's a 420cc Honda clone.
Yep. One thing I found out the other day, I bought one of those Power More snow blowers, or Power Smart, the kind of Home Depot sells, the cheap ones.
Yeah.
Someone emailed me and said they're made in Vietnam. So I guess Vietnam's getting into power equipment now. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. Does it look like a Honda clone, or are they doing something different?
It is a Honda clone, but it's just a weird. I've worked on them before. I have customers with them. They're cheaply built, and but brand new. They're $439, brand new.
Crazy.
So I mean, I got it for $100. It works. It's 3 years old, and it looks like it's been through hell and back. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit to it and go from there.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Have you ever been to Northern Tool?
Oh yeah, Northern Tool. I used to buy pulleys and belts and stuff like that from Northern years, and generators even from Northern years ago. Northern used to be the old place where you'd buy small engines. I mean, Northern Tool sold replacement engines. That was like one of their mainstays.
Well, they have. I think it's the blue replacement engine. I think they call it a Duramax or something like that.
There's like 3 or 4 different brands now that make those China Honda engines or whatever. So
because you remember Tractor Supply used to sell replacement engines.
They still do. Tractor Supply still does. Yeah.
I guess it just depends on what location they're in, because the one here in Milledgeville, but me, I like my old school L-head Briggs and Stratton engines, because I just got through watching Jeff Small Engines.
You lost Jeff.
Well, I said I watched Jeff Small Engines, and he had a Toro. It was blowing out blue smoke. And he said, well, it's got to be a blown head gasket. I'm like, nope. But I had the plastic car.
We're not ignoring you. I apologize if you want to come back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was watching that video, James, and when I was listening to it, the 25 mile, I'm like,
Sorry, which video?
With Bob, when he said, I don't know if I drive 25 miles, and he's like, I'm not going to mention any names.
I'm
plastered all over that baby.
It's funny though. As soon as you got that needle, right? I get these 2 generators. Guess what I need? A needle.
Oh, get out!
Exactly the needle I gave you. So that's why I found that part.
Oh, okay. Did you order them?
I did, but now that I saw Bob's video, I'm thinking I need to take some sandpaper
Try
to
it.
that needle.
Yeah. Now here's the question: you got a Mighty Vac?
No, I just blow. That works.
Nah,
But a mighty vac is a little more professional.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. For years, I used the bulb from a blood pressure cuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bought it on eBay for like $4, and I had a little air pressure gauge, and I used that for years. It worked.
Yeah.
Just as long as I saw Bruce Pett, my buddy Bruce, blowing on it all the time, and I was like, you know what? He needs a mighty vac, so I actually sent him one.
That was nice.
Yeah.
But Mr. James, I tell you what, I can't. You know more about electricity than most electricians do today. I'm like, because now they make videos. If you have a generator that's running but is not producing the AC current, you take a drill and turn it counterclockwise. I thought about that. That's great. But me, I would get a metal bladed fan or a plastic blade, and I would take my handheld blower and blow the blades the opposite direction, because once that generator kicks in and you got hold of that drill, you better let it go quick.
Oh yeah, to reflash. Yeah, to reflash.
Yeah.
Hey, but Robert, David is asking if there are any small engine creators down your way from the south and on the Gulf Coast. Who do we have down your way? Anybody?
Nobody.
We got Louisiana though. Cajun Coin Hunter. He's a Briggs dealer. He does a lot of small engine work. Cajun Coin Hunter. He's down by New Orleans, so he's down that way. So he'd be in the Gulf area.
But no, the only guy that does an off the wall thing, he's in Tampa, Florida.
We got Tampa boys but he's mostly mini bikes and go karts and all that stuff.
But this guy, he made his own lawnmower blades. He didn't like the factory blades, so he decided he gonna get steel of a different style and make his own lawnmower blades. I'm like, he did it, but I'm like, Oh, and then
James, there's a question there for you, James. Something about who makes the engines for small cat generators? Caterpillar, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I've actually never worked on one of those, but I think it's the same that you see on pretty much everything else. I don't know the exact manufacturer, but it's a Honda clone made in China. I can pretty much 100% guarantee that.
Oh, Caterpillar actually makes small engine ones too? I don't think I've ever seen.
They're branded Caterpillar, but I don't think.
Oh, okay. I don't think just private labeled like everybody else, right?
Yeah, because if Cat made one, they would probably make it a diesel version.
Yeah.
And that's another thing.
They make generators, but they are serious machines. They're not the little portable ones.
Yeah, usually they're on a trailer with a 6-cylinder or something. Yeah.
But there was a guy on YouTube a while back. He took a Toro-built tiller, and I'm trying to think. I think it was a Daihatsu, but it was a diesel engine that you could pull start. I'm like, okay, pull start diesel engine. But he put that diesel engine on that Toro-built tiller. I'm like, okay, diesel powered Toro-built tiller. I'm like, okay, I didn't think they could make diesel engines pull start with the compression ratio they have, but they apparently do.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of small engine, single cylinder diesel pull start small engines out there. I've seen a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah, you just had to have that compression release because,
Well, that's what a diesel is. A diesel works on compression. That's what fires the fuel.
It does. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I said that they are wanting the world to do away with diesel, although a lot of these companies now, like Kubota and stuff, have what they call the regen system on the engines, or they have to run blue def, like the Ford.
Oh, I can't stand that urea fluid. I can't stand that stuff. But if you don't change it, or if you don't add it, it'll put the engine into limp mode, and then you won't be able to go anywhere.
Yeah. Because that guy.
All right, Tim, I'll see you later, Palmer.
Yeah, this guy on YouTube does lawn care. He bought a Ford truck, and he had to keep a check on that blue def.
There we go. asking about the Gulf. We got Brandon from Brandon Small Engine. He's in Texas by the Gulf. So there you go. That's a great channel over there then.
I'm trying to think.
Scrap Bongo, whoever. Hello. I've never seen you before, but hello.
No.
Oh, Dick Small Engines. We got all the European guys are up at 2. It's now 2:41 in the morning, and they're watching me. So must be pretty boring over in Europe.
Oh yeah. And I like that idea where Mick had to redo that one. It was self-propelled, but he took all that off that one. I think it was a hater or whatever, the way he could roll it around. But he said the price of the new gearbox was like, yeah.
Hey, James, someone's asking you what your opinions are of propane versus gas, or propane or gas.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to take care of your equipment, get propane. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's if you're not going to stay on top of the gas, propane's the way to go. But propane, you do have to worry about, sizing the tank right, pressures and all that sort of thing. If you try to run it off a small tank, it's just going to freeze up. You're going to lose pressure and you're going to have trouble. So you do need to have it plumbed with an adequate supply.
No.
Yeah, David's asking as well if you have ever worked on dual fuel generators.
I haven't got one yet, and that's probably why. They run it on propane and they keep working.
Yeah, you'll never see them. Yeah,
dirt cheap, but you do lose a little bit of power with propane, so it's kind of a give and take, like what works for you. But I am waiting for the day where I get one where the tank's just all roached out, it can't be fixed, and at that point, propane.
Order the conversion kit. Yeah,
it'll make a lot of sense.
But one thing I want to stress, though, a lot of people think LP and propane are the same. They're not. I had one guy, he bought a propane conversion kit, and he tried to hook it up to his house gas. Not the same. So there's a big difference between LP and propane. So, you really got to, be careful because it's dangerous. I mean, you really got to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
No, the engine I want to see you bring the straight and quit making. You started it on gasoline, then you swapped over to kerosene. I'm like, yeah. But now I know a couple in Griffin. They had a home standby generator, but they hooked it up to the natural gas meter, so it ran off natural gas.
But it's a different regulator. It's a different everything. I mean, the pressure when you're using that is actually in water column. It's such a low pressure. It's actually measured in water column, inches of water versus PSI, because it's decimal pressure. It's like 0.2, 0.3 PSI, which you use water column to measure,
Yeah, and that's all the larger generators. I mean, that's
Rusty.
They're not going to run. Usually, they're not going to run gas or diesel unless they have no other option.
Yeah.
Rusty
was asking about natural gas. And all. Yeah, there's liquid propane versus the stuff. The stuff you get in the street is different than what you get in a canister for your gas grill. So it's not exactly the same. The regulators are different. Things are different about it. You got to watch that stuff.
And unless somebody wants to try and go find somebody that sells butane and try to run a generator off butane like they use in cigarette lighters, it's like.
Yeah, but wouldn't butane be expensive though? Because I know even the little butane for those little torches that I have, it's not cheap. Those little cans are like $4.
Yeah.
For those little torches for soldering wires.
Yeah. No, but I took training at this hospital in Warm Springs. We had a big cat diesel generator. Then we had an old school Westinghouse with I think it was an 8-cylinder gas engine on it. I'm like, but the batteries for that cat generator, these things were not cheap. You had to replace them.
Yeah, people are talking now about the gas. I'm talking natural gas in the street versus propane is what I'm talking about. I think I'm confusing everyone when I say LP and all that. But yeah, the gas in the street versus, container propane or whatever. there is a difference, because a friend of mine tried to run a generator that he had on a gas grill container by hooking it up to the supply he had for his house, and it literally blew apart the regulator. It didn't work.
Oh.
Yeah, they're different energy as well. Like you need, I think it's more natural gas and less.
Well, you talk like BTU per pound, that kind of thing?
Yeah, there's less energy in
Yeah.
it. So, like gasoline will give you the most horsepower for sure. And then, liquid propane less and natural gas, I think even less. So you need more of it to run it for the same period of time.
Yeah, just like alcohol. When you're using alcohol in these engines too, it takes literally twice as much, if not more. But it burns so much cooler and cleaner. The only problem with alcohol, because I used to work on drag racing a lot, and alcohol engines tend to wash down the cylinders. So you have to do oil changes like every run on a drag car, because it'll just wash down right into the oil.
Yep. But what?
Good night, Thomas. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. And also they said if you had a diesel engine that had glow plugs, do not use starting fluid because it will eat away at the glow plug.
Well, it's funny, you talk about diesels and starting fluid. Half the manufacturers will say, no, you're going to blow it up. But then I see everybody jamming ether into their diesel air cleaners all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. But, there's two styles of diesel. There's glow plug, then there's real high compression.
Yeah, pure compression, yeah. I mean, the glow plugs are just helping it on a cold day. I mean, if you kept cranking, and you had the pressure, yeah, it would fire. But if it's 2 degrees out, the glow plugs are going to help you.
Yeah, because they've shown diesel engines on locomotives start up, and then all you saw was just white smoke till they finally got hot enough to where they started sounding right.
Oh, Mark's asking what you do for a living, James.
You'll be surprised to hear this, but I implement systems like databases. I do programming, SQL. So a programmer, more or less.
And because the reason though, James, someone came on before and we were having the conversation and they say, how the hell does James know all this stuff? And I go, yeah, he's into computers. He's not really a small engine guy, but you wouldn't know it by his videos.
No, it's my job is a lot of problem solving. So
there
it's
you go.
the same skill. It's just a matter of educating yourself on the problem. And
well, let me ask you though, were you a YouTube junkie like me when you started this stuff and all of a sudden you binged YouTube and tried to learn everything you could?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I watch everyone on YouTube that, comes to mind when you think of small engines. And, even like, tonight, what we saw on Double Wide 6, right? I mean, that's something I learned. Even Bruce's video the other day, making a key from a piece of metal. I'm like, I would have never thought of that.
Yeah.
And there's actually a guy that follows me. He used to run a generator repair business, like the home standby units, the bigger units.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's retired. I don't know. He's probably in his 70s, 80s, 90s. I don't know. Small YouTube channel, but his videos are great. I mean,
send me the link. I'd be curious on that one.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. But I mean, he's just he has a lot of knowledge, and just seeing little bits of advice, and it's like, oh my God, it's brilliant. So yeah, I mean, you learn from others. I mean, and you learn from your mistakes. I think you made a comment earlier about the carburetor cleaner. And I think the first carburetors I ever cleaned, I'm dousing it in carburetor cleaner. It was probably a Tecumseh. And next thing I know, the float would go down.
It would start the engine.
It was like, pointing straight up. And I'm like,
but one thing I found though,
if it's dangerous, for the carb. So, you learn as you go.
You could literally take rubber gaskets and those things, put them in boiling water for about 20 minutes. Sometimes they will go back to their original shape. Boiling hot water. I've done that before. So but that's only in a pinch on a Sunday when no one's open and the guy needs his equipment,
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and they got this carburetor cleaner that you buy in a 1 gallon paint
Yeah,
can.
like Berryman. Yeah, Berryman is a good. Everyone has a Berryman can that they dunk their carbs in.
Yeah. Then you got these guys that they'll put different cleaning solutions in the ultrasonic cleaners and stuff. I'm like,
when you talk about the ultrasonics, I'm the biggest fan of using the peanut butter jars, keeping the tank with water, and just using the peanut butter jars with the solvent or with the cleaner, and just keep the tank distilled water so the tank will last forever. But Jim, you're a big fan of the Harbor Freight solution?
Yeah, it's really cheap and it works. It works quite well. I did try. I've only tried 4 or 5 things in the cleaner. Did a lot of research to see what people suggested. I tried all that stuff, and it's, the carburetors come out a different color, or
the purple power, especially, they come out dark gray. Yeah.
Yeah, and all right, maybe it cleaned it, but now the carburetor looks like crap.
Yeah,
so I just tried a few things, and it's freight's cheap. It works good enough.
It's just like they said, like the Zip purple cleaner. They say on that bottle, do not use it on aluminum.
Yeah.
It's real caustic acid, and it will start, messing the aluminum up.
Yeah, a lot of those chemicals people use, if you look on the container, it says corrosive. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to damage it any worse than it is. And if I have to clean it, I still use carburetor cleaner. I still poke all the holes out. And it'll probably run just fine before I even put it in the ultrasonic. But I have it apart. Might as well throw it in. It's definitely it's not gonna hurt.
Did you ever buy those drills we were talking about the other day, number 81 and the others, or what?
Actually, number 80. Yeah.
80, okay.
That's what was holding me up. So I was gonna finish these 2 up tonight because I ran out of number 80. I only had 2. My son got into my micro drill bit kit, and I think he was drilling plastic bottles with all the bits, and only half of them came back. So the number 80 did not come back, and then I broke another number 80 inside of a pilot jet a few months back, so I was all out.
Where did you go get them, actually? Where'd you end up going?
I ended up going to Amazon. I considered driving down to, what was that store?
Granger, one of those places?
Granger, yeah. But it's not, it
not worth it, yeah.
One way for this, or I could wait 2 days. So
are they the jobber drills or the micro drills with a thicker shank on them?
That is a great question. I don't know.
Because I know you can buy what they call PC drills, which have a thicker shank and then the drill on the end. And then you have what's called a jobber drill, but the jobber drills are only about 3/4 of an inch long. So I'm wondering which kind you end up buying.
Oh, no, these are longer. Yeah. Yeah, but that's something I try not to drill out jets, because I've broken 2 of these off in jets. I feel like I'm doing something wrong, but
just like that guy.
The hard way too. The carburetor, I'm like, not a big deal. You drill it out, you break you break a drill bit in the jet, fine. You order a new jet, what, $8-10? You wait a couple of days and then you try again. This particular carburetor, they only sold the carburetor as a unit. So after I broke the bit in there, I went to go get the jet and ended up having to buy the whole carburetor. So
it's just like that guy, Ellis Mowers. If he gets a Nicky carburetor, he'll take it and find a little bit bigger to drill out the jet a little. I'm like,
but I tell you though, in the past year, all of us who work on these engines, just the discovery of what we do with these pilot jets, it's changed the way I work on these Chondas. It really has.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this is. It's running so lean that, like, literally if you turn the choke on just a tiny bit, you see the throttle close, everything steadies out. You turn the choke off, and the throttle opens up quite a bit just to keep it running. It's just starving for fuel, and it's popping out of the exhaust because there's so little fuel in there. I don't think it's even igniting during the compression stroke, and then when it comes around to start the intake again, it sparks again and just lights up whatever it didn't get the first time.
I bought that brand new carburetor for that generator. That's why I talked to you about that needle. when I put that carburetor on, the only way it would run is full choke, and then you open it about a 1/16 of an inch of daylight, and it would run perfect. But if you cracked it anymore, it would hunt like mad and then shut off.
Yep.
I think that's what's wrong with that engine on that Poland XT. But I told him, say, do what you need to. You need to clean it, or you try to find the original Briggs &
Yeah, but
Stratton.
Robert, on that Poland XT, just have them spend the $97, buy the Briggs OEM Walbro style carburetor with the stamped float bowl, and you'll be good to go. Throw out the stupid Nicky cast junk. Throw it out. Throw it out.
Yeah.
Everybody hates.
James, either they work or they don't. There's no in between.
The only Nickies I get are on the 10-horse Briggs overhead cam. Every single one of them runs great. But that runs at one
I'm
speed.
talking the fractional horsepower Briggs 13.5 to like 19.5 that's on riding tractors.
Yeah.
Those Nicky cars with that stupid formed O-ring looking and that little jet in the plastic that falls out and you lose it, and the O-rings that are about as big as dust particles, and
I agree. I don't like the design, but I gotta say, when people neglect their equipment, having something that's plastic survives, you know. And maybe it didn't run well to begin with, but it still runs the same after it's neglected.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but where I live, there's only one gas station I know of that does not sell ethanol-free gas, but every other gas station sells it, because it's done got to the point. Ethanol gas, you got to go through every gas ad to find the one that will prevent water buildup if you don't drain the tank. You know?
Yeah, but it's funny you talk about that, because Jim and I were having a conversation the other day where we both are fans of Mr. Funnel, but James actually tried it a few weeks ago, and he said it didn't really work. Have you tried it since then with other fuel?
No, I could have actually last week, but I mean, it was such an epic fail. I mean, maybe my funnel's bad, but there was a ton of water in this tank. I mean, it was probably 1 liter or 2 of water in a 5-gallon tank. Wow. And Mr. Funnel took out about 1/4 cup of water. Wow. The rest of it, just let it right through.
Yeah. I bought one, and the first time I put water in it, it stayed, but now it's like, nah. So I won't buy another one.
What happens after, maybe if you put too much in, it does something with the pores? I don't know. But like they said, a molecule of water is bigger than a molecule of gasoline, so it should not go through that element. There you go.
I should give away with Mr. Funnel. I'm not going to use it again, but that little bit that's left in there because of the way they design it, I'm willing to bet that's how they want you to separate a little bit of water. It just sinks to the bottom. It doesn't even reach the filter.
It doesn't even reach. I know. You're throwing away, 3-4 ounces every time, right?
Yeah, just use a clear bottle.
Yeah, just let it settle. Yeah. Hey, I use a milk jug. I let it settle. I pop a hole above it, let it drain in. But my buddy told me a trick, though. Keep in mind, ethanol contributes greatly to the octane in your fuel. So if you have 87 octane fuel and you take the ethanol out, it's now about 81 octane.
Got it.
So you really need an octane booster, just not a lot, but a little bit. My friend, he's been doing it for years. He buys one of those little bottles of octane booster, and one of those bottles, he says half of it in 5 gallons of non-ethanol fuel, where he drains out the ethanol by using the water trick, and he says it runs fine.
Yeah.
But, he said when he did it without using the octane booster, just mixing it with water and draining out the ethanol, he was getting some knocking in some of his engines. So now he uses a little bit of octane boost.
Yeah, I've noticed the same. I mean, I try to reuse all the gas. I like everything I buy, I drain the gas out of it because I have no idea how long it's been in there, what the condition is. I try to use it all, unless it's so nasty that you're free to. And that happens. I mean, there's always a few gallons here and there you just can't do much with. But for the most part it works.
Phil's asking about Predator generators. I think he's saying that they're very loud. Have you ever seen worked on the Predator ones, James?
Only the 3,200 watt ones. I've done a few of those, and they're actually very quiet. But once you put a load on it, they do get it. It's a huge difference between unloaded noise and loaded. Like that's probably the biggest extreme that I've seen on a generator. Usually they stay at the similar noise level, but the Predator, it's a big difference once you put it under load.
Yeah, I have it's a Craftsman. I bought at Lowe's. It's quiet, but it also has that CO sensor. So if I'm running in a room,
oh yeah,
it will sense the carbon monoxide, and I don't know what it will do, but I'm not gonna put the thing in a room and find out.
Hey Jim, someone was asking, made the comment about inverters. Can you just explain about clean versus dirty power with an inverter and half wave, full wave, all that?
Yeah, sure. Inverters are completely different from usually what you see on my channel, but I do have an inverter video coming up soon. It's a Honda that actually was dead.
An EU2000?
It was an EU2000, yeah.
There you go. My favorite. I love those. Love those.
Yeah. It was a mess, but it had no compression, so that one was a bit of work. Anyway, the inverters, like the generators you normally see, the non-inverter types, right? They have a spinning part in the middle. It's basically an electromagnet, and it has the cage of wire around the side, which is what sends electricity to your house. But the inverter actually, it almost looks like a stator that you'd find on like a dirt bike or something, where you have this stationary part in the middle. That's what's making the power out. But then the flywheel itself actually has the magnets around it, permanent magnets. So there's no electromagnet, it's just the flywheel spinning around a stator, a stationary stator. And it's producing actually high frequency AC coming out. And it's variable, meaning, the engine can speed up and slow down. So the voltage coming out, the AC, the frequency, the voltage, it all fluctuates. Like it's not usable in that form. So it actually has to go through, I think it gets rectified actually to DC and then back to AC. So it's a complex process, but the final step of converting it back to AC, it's all, computer controlled. It's very clean. It's not like a choppy sine wave like you get on those cheap inverters for your car, which I have one of those because they're like $20. But if you want to get a real inverter to convert DC to AC that does a sine wave, you're going to be spending hundreds of thousands to do that.
And the good ones are full wave, right? Not half wave. They're full wave rectified, right?
Yeah,
so
it's a modified wave where, like the cheap ones you buy, it just goes 120, 0, negative 120, 0. There's no smoothness to it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And, at least on generators like you normally see on my channel, they are a sine wave. It's just they're not perfect. Some are worse than others. But inverter, they're quiet. They're fuel efficient because you don't have to run at a screaming 3,600 RPM or 3,690 if you set it to 61.5 hertz. The inverter can run a lot slower. You save fuel. The engine's going to last a lot longer. So I like inverters a lot, especially the good ones, like Honda.
That EU2000, the one that I've worked on before, quiet though, very quiet.
Yeah, it is. It is. They're nice. Actually, I used to own one years ago and I sold it because it was rattling. And at the time I didn't know what it was. This one, after I got it running again, rattling like crazy. I'm like, all right, I got to figure out what this problem is. It was making more noise than the generator. And I think it's common. Honda changed their cap. So they put this cap on the newer ones. It's like a ratcheting cap like you have on your car.
Yep.
Where if you turn it too tight, it'll click.
Mm.
So because of that, the cap's in two pieces. And this top piece,
it's
it's separate from the actual cap. So when you start this thing up, I mean, the thing just like shakes like
Driving
crazy.
you nuts.
Yeah. So
Now, that's the kind where you have to turn the vent on and off, correct? That little switch on top?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So they still sell, they have an older style cap that came on the original EU 2000s. It doesn't have the ratchet. It's just a cap and a vent. And there's nothing to shake.
And I see they sell the caps now with the little nipple on the end, so you could buy the external tank. So that way you could run the generator for, twice the amount of time without having to refuel.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, those are, I've never got one with one of those, but yeah, you can do that. Or you can just run a fuel line out. I mean, it has a fuel pump, so you can just run a line right into a 5-gallon tank, and that thing will run for days.
I knew somebody one time, they were running a generator in the house because they didn't have power. Well, somebody decided to go put gasoline in the generator while it was running. I'm like,
Those fumes are lethal.
But the thing was, the house wasn't much left of it. It caught fire because apparently.
It sounds like the guys who do the grease-fired turkeys on Thanksgiving next to their vinyl siding, and then the house goes up.
Yep. Yeah, they dropping frozen turkeys in hot grease.
Yeah,
that is a no-no. You got to let that turkey thaw out, because once that frozen water, water and grease don't mix, then the grease is gonna find that open flame, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, grab the fire extinguisher.
It'll be Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, because
today.
Oh, I don't know. Look at that. You rate, Jim, not me. I still got the old crap.
He sent everything. He sent the bottle opener, the pens,
beauty,
multiple stickers. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I heard Toro mention Mick about 10 times in his last video, so Mick's head must be kind of big right now.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you though, did you guys catch Taro's video on that 1965 Flymo, the Toro Flymo? That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It says great for cutting ditches and stuff, but
for angles, the two-stroke, any two-stroke, if you have it.
I thought when I saw the two-stroke, I was excited because you've seen where I live, Ken, but my yard, there's not a flat part on it. Even when I run the generators in the yard, it takes me like 10 minutes to find a spot that's like less than 5 degrees of tilt. I mean, it's just so bad.
Yep.
Two-stroke lawnmower would be.
Yeah, because I have my pressure washer. It has an oil sensor, so if it's not perfectly level, that old sensor says nope. I'm not gonna let the engine run.
Yeah.
Hey, James, you were talking, I think it was in your last video. Was it the Yamaha engine or something where you had a problem? I'm trying to think. Where was it, the popping you were talking about, or what were you talking about in the last video? Something about
that's a pretty big question.
I know. I'm trying to think. You and I were talking about something about the popping, and we didn't know if it was valves or not. Is that something that you had already mentioned?
That is the Generex that I'm working on right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean these two generators were, I think I already mentioned it, but they were basically sold as junk. The person selling them said the engines were bad.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case, but when I finally got it running, one of them was popping. And the valves were off when I got it, so I was wondering if someone, somehow messed it up. But if something pops, I mean, there's a lot of different things it can be, and you don't just start tearing everything apart. But there's at least 7 or 8 different things it can be. So, it ended up being just too lean, and actually the spark plug was gapped half of what it should be. So it just didn't have enough fuel in the cylinder. It wasn't sparking. It wasn't, lighting off.
Was the plug pure white or what?
No, it was a new plug. The person selling it put new plugs in the machine. Granted, they were NGK clone plugs, but they were new. There was no story on them other than someone put them in.
Not my favorite torch plugs, were they?
They weren't torch. They were something like Savior.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the stuff you get with the Chinese carb kits, the free plugs they always throw in,
Yeah, I throw those away.
Oh, just like I've heard both lawnmower shops I've dealt with. If it had the E3 Diamond Fire plug in it, bye.
Yep.
Fuck it. But
It's
yeah,
I have a whole Chinese food container full of what I call the snake oil plugs.
Yeah.
All those plugs with the different, I mean, I don't know. Hey, put it this way. I've seen them work fantastic and I've seen them not fire. So it's luck of the draw.
Yeah. And that's it. But it's, you know, a lot of the stuff I buy, it's in non-running condition. And the thing that people always do is change the plug. That's the first thing they do. And it's usually not the plug. I mean, unless you put something really bad in there to begin with. You know, I mean, the generators that I pick up have 100 hours on it, 200 hours on it. It's just they've been sitting for 10 years with bad gas.
Yeah. But what was it? One time I had a Green Machine weed eater. Well, back in the day when they was making that Champion one tug plug, found out. Nope, they didn't like it. It would run, then it would cut off. And then the other thing was, I had a 1978 Breeden Stratton on a 21-inch commercial grade sniper. Well, I'm like, I'm gonna burn high octane gas. Wrong. It goes across, got vapor locked. So I had to drop back down to 87. Wouldn't vapor lock. I'm like, yeah.
Well, one thing people got to remember too, you know, we have Cam 2 racing gasoline up the road from me in Newtown, and it's about $9 or $10 a gallon. So it's 100 octane though. You can't start the stuff. I mean, you're pulling. People don't realize the higher the octane, the slower the burn rate. It takes a lot more to get it to fire. And they put it in their mower and they're like, why isn't it starting? Because it burns so slow. You know?
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't knock. The flame kernel travels so much slower at a higher octane. That's why it doesn't knock. It doesn't pre-ignite or detonate, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, and was it for a long time, you know, a lot of people couldn't afford a brand new car. And was it 1970, somewhere in the early 70s, they made them take lead out of gas.
72. 1972.
But people who still have lead burning engines had to buy that lead substitute.
They still sell it. Yeah. But I remember back in the 70s, though, the biggest thing, it kept all the machine shops going, was putting in hardened seats. Everybody I knew with a small block Chevy or Ford, all their heads went down the machine shop and they put the hardened seats in so that it wouldn't pound the hell out of them without the lead.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like a brake seat, right, Robert? You've seen the brake seats. Those brake seats like to come out all the time and not steal. And then you end up peening them with a drift punch, you know?
Yeah. But, and I was thinking about it. The only water remover I really trust, I've got a quart of it. It's I've never used it, but it's the Phaser 3000 in orange quart bottle.
What Phaser? I never heard of that. What is that? You heard of that, Jim? Phaser 3000?
I haven't.
What is it, Robert?
It's a water, it helps prevent separation in ethanol gas, but you can only find it at Napa.
How do you spell it?
It's like Phazer.
Huh.
Yep. But there's 1 quart orange bottle.
Yeah.
$26.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's.
But it's about like you go buy a Royal Purple oil, you know. But the one I really trust is the Heat. It's the HEET, because there's 2 different styles.
Yeah, the red and the yellow bottle, the 2 different bottles.
Yeah, because they said you could even pour rubbing alcohol, but depending on the percentage of alcohol, you could pour that in there. But you gotta think about it.
There you go, Robert.
Yeah.
Phaser right there.
Yeah, but the one I had was I'm trying to think what I did with that bottle, but I
21.95 for that little bottle. Wow.
Yep. But it's made by Primrose Oil Corporation. The only reason I knew about it, I was walking down the street one day and I seen 2 empty 1-quart bottles laying on the street, and I'm like, So I said, I went to Napa. They had the little small black bottles, but I'm like, can y'all get the quart bottle? And like, yeah. So I think I went back one day and I was like, okay, I'll buy this. Bought it, but I never used it. And I'm like, I am not opening this up. Not
I'd never heard of that before. Phaser 3000. Huh.
But like I said, the thing is, I've even pulled gas out of an engine. Didn't have water in it, but this gas was so old, it like when you first get up in the morning and take a whiz, this off with that. I'm like, what the? No wonder this engine wouldn't run. I'm like, it was so dark. I'm like, yep. Yeah. But
How was the fuel in that Briggs there, Jim? Was it decent fuel? The one you grabbed from me?
Yeah, actually it was full. 5 gallons of fuel. It was clean. No water.
Yeah, it smelled good.
Yeah, there were no issues.
Yeah.
Now you said that engine was locked or what? It was dead?
I haven't done too much with it because it is locked right now, but I think what happened was the last guy, I think, pushed the piston down so far in the cylinder that it's probably bumping into the crank and it just can't do it. But when I pull it, you can feel it move a little bit and then it just stops.
Oh, okay.
So I think it is broken internally. So that's kind of my next project. I actually have I'm going to rebuild the Briggs next, a 10 horse. And I actually have a 9 horse over here that I think can be rebuilt as well. So that generator has a 10 horse on it, but it's only a 5,000 watt generator. So if I could get a 9 horse rebuilt, that would be a perfect size to put on.
Same block, same everything, bolt right on?
It should, but I'm not sure because this is a PowerMate. It's one of the square generator heads. And I thought they had a different bolt pattern on the bell housing, but I've never taken one apart attached to a Briggs, so I don't know, what I'm going to see under there. Who knows? Maybe I can rebuild that engine. It actually has a little oil sensor, so if it blew, maybe it didn't run out of oil. There's no hole in the block. Yeah,
what the guy told me just didn't make sense. He goes, "Oh, I had the valve cover off. I did this." I'm like, "What did you really do?" I don't know if the guy even knew what he was doing.
Yeah, I took a peek at the oil too. I mean, it looks brand new. So I don't know what to think about that. I mean, I've picked up a few that have run out of oil. Like when you open it up, you can clearly see it ran out of oil. Everything,
and it's usually jet black too.
It smells like charcoal. Like everything's black, but the oil was brand new. So I think someone heard it knocking. Maybe they put oil in it, started it back up. It probably lasted a minute and then just blew.
Did you notice any fines or anything? Because I know a lot of times when they spin and lock up, you'll get a little bit of fines in the oil, aluminum fines. Like the little swarf. Like a little dust.
Yeah, in this one, I haven't. No, I haven't. All I did was took the cap off. I didn't see.
Oh, okay. Because I usually drain it, and I'll put it in a coffee strainer. And then I'll tear the strainer to see if I see any shiny stuff,
Yeah.
But what was it?
Oh, Brandon.
I gotta ask you a question.
Who?
You.
Me.
Now on my opposed twins.
You love those opposed twins. I don't know. I think you love those things.
I do, but there's only one crankcase breather tube. Okay. Now, does that act for both sides or just one side? Because there's two. There's opposed twins.
Yeah, they have to be connected. Yeah, but you have 2 cylinders, but you only have one crankcase. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The cylinders are pushing down with the rings into one combined crankcase, so you only have one breather assembly.
Yeah, I did one. Now, that's another thing I learned. I used to let my Snapper 33-inch high vac sit for a while, and it got to the point this thing was smoking like old fog machine, and I figured out the problem. The
leaking fuel into the oil.
Now the crankcase breather, that fiber disc was sticking because it wasn't getting lubricated. After a certain amount of time, it will quit. I'm like,
it'll stick. Yeah, it'll stick. Yeah, sometimes I'll go in there and just hit it with my finger and make sure the thing's moving. You know,
because I was thinking, was that because I was using mineral-based oil? Is the whether or not it would do it if you use full synthetic?
Yeah. Yeah, but those fiber discs are funny. They're like phenolic discs, and sometimes they'll stick, and sometimes they're kind of funny.
Yeah, because
you got a fan out there, Robert. Casey over there says he's a fan of your opposed twins. He's got 5 of them.
Nice.
Oh, and Casey, but Casey's out in Iowa, so he's a little further from us.
Yeah, I'd rather have I mean, I don't mind a V twin, but the one piece of equipment I want to get hold of would have a Vanguard.
Oh,
I want a Vanguard engine.
Vanguard's the ultimate V twin. I like the Vanguards.
Yeah.
Remember, Briggs has a patent on the Vanguard design, and if you notice, a lot of the high output commercial welders, generators, all that, they have Vanguards on them.
Yeah.
And they all have the Donaldson type cartridge air filter with the 2 elements that go into each other with the big duckbill valve off the side. The commercial air cleaners, those things are so nice.
Yeah. We had a Lincoln arc welder at work, and it had a twin cylinder Onan on it.
Oh yeah. Onan's big bucks. So since Cummins bought Onan, the parts are ridiculous. The pricing is crazy.
Yeah, but the thing was, it was owned by the state. Well, it had electric start, but they were too lazy to buy a battery. So you had to wrap the rope around the pull, and it's like you had to get that thing to turn enough RPMs to create a current to light off both cylinders. But finally they sold it to somebody. And I'm like, I hope they got that thing running because Onan, there's some good engines.
Hey Robert, some Rusty on here, Rusty Rooster's looking for your channel. What's your channel name? Do you want to type it in?
I wish I could. I don't know if I go do that, I'd probably get kicked off.
No. Just type it as a comment. That's all. Just put how it's spelled, because I think it's spelled. I don't know if they know it was a Mailhouse, right?
It's MAILHOS.
Not HOUS.
HOS.
Okay.
There's no U in it.
So Mailhouse.
Yeah.
Okay. So type that in, Rusty. Robert Mailhouse, and see what comes up. Or if someone wants to go on there, look at it, and post the link, feel free. All
right. Okay, there it is. But best lawnmower I ever seen. My granddad had a Craftsman Eagle One with a Tecumseh on it.
Oh, Eagle One! My first mower was an Eagle One, 3.5 horsepower Tecumseh. Love that thing.
But it had to have a special key
for the flywheel.
Well, something to do with the ignition.
Yeah, there was an offset key, and there's a weird looking key. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my granddaddy had one. Well, I ended up with a mower, but I didn't have the key. Well, lo and behold, I'm staying in Macon, Georgia, in this townhome, my daddy and stuff. I should have put that lawnmower in the bathroom downstairs. Well, when I finally get hold of the key, I come back, the mower was gone, and I said, here's the GDMFing key, and I walked over to the dumpster and threw the damn key in the dumpster. I'm like, forget it. Somebody stole that lawnmower, and I'm like, That made me mad, or that made me mad, But the first mower we had was it had the discharge chute out front, on the right side. Mm-hmm. So the wheel where it normally would be was behind it, But
see, Mick showed me something the other day. Did you notice your name in the stream, Robert? Or I mean, James?
Oh yeah. What is that?
Mr. Generator. Mick played a game on me the other day, and
you can do that?
Yeah, I can do it to you guys. Now, I was on a stream the other day, and I don't know, I was joking with Mick about something, but I'm in the stream, and I don't know if kids are listening, but anyway, he typed in Mick's bitch where my name was. And I didn't know it, and I didn't see it, I didn't realize it. And I'm talking, people are laughing. I don't know what the hell's going on. The next day, Sparky sends me a picture of it, and it's got me talking with the words "mixed bitch" underneath. I was like, and I didn't realize, but a moderator, if it's my stream or your stream, you can go in. Like right now, let me go into Robert. I'll go into Robert. Robert, what do you like to be called besides Robert?
Well, Jim.
Yeah, wait, I got something. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll call you something. Hold on.
I would have never noticed either, Ken.
I didn't, but I was so embarrassed afterwards, and I was in 2 streams with a stupid name because it stays with you.
Yeah.
On your StreamYard.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I'm in another stream, and everyone's like, "What's that bitch thing?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, son of a, yeah. So I owe Mick for that one.
Definitely.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, you can call me Mr. Opie for post win.
There you go.
But always, yeah. Because like I said, the only thing that's saving Briggs and Stratton engines now is putting them on those commercial grade motors with the fuel injection.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a fan of that yet. I've only worked on one fuel injected, and that was an Aaron's fuel injected thrower. And I'll be honest with you, the dealer said just throw another the fuel injector assembly or whatever. It was like $130. He goes, he said they have the computer, they plug it in, it'll tell you what's going on. He said, but for $130, you just replace it. He says it's not worth spending $100 an hour labor to try and diagnose and repair $130 carb or fuel injector, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah, because on fuel injection, depending on what it is, but most time you can change out the injector to get more or less fuel sprayed.
The thing that I hear about those, 90% of the time now they're used on snow equipment, okay, because they're easier to start in sub-zero weather. And that's one of the main reasons they went to them. But the issue is when you start to have problems, just like M-Tronic and all the electronic chainsaws, when you have leaky seals and vacuum leaks and all that, it'll compensate for it, richen the hell out of it so it runs. But in the meantime, you're doing damage. It will run, but you still have the leak. You still have a lean out condition. Even though it's dumping fuel in to try and keep it running, you still risk ruining the equipment, So, while fuel injection is great and the computers and all that, it's great, don't get me wrong, it masks a problem like a leaking seal, vacuum leak, or a bad gasket or whatever, and it'll just keep running. Then one day it doesn't run, and you're like, wait a minute, how come I didn't realize this? Because the computer is dumping in more fuel to keep it running, because that's the purpose of it.
All right.
So it's good and bad.
Explain the difference between running rich and running lean.
When you're running lean, you have what's called a stoichiometric ratio, okay, 14.5 air to fuel, okay? You're supposed to have 14.5 parts for each part of air for fuel and all that. If you don't have the right ratio, if there's too little fuel, then you run lean. You don't have enough fuel to burn. Lean runs very hot because there's not enough molecules of the gasoline to produce the power and all that, and you're just running with more air. It's a lean mixture. It runs hotter. That's why you see spark plugs are white when they run lean, because a brown colored spark plug or like a mocha or a coffee colored spark plug means that your mixture is the correct ratio, so you get a correct burn, and the hydrocarbon residue is like a brownish color. When you see white, it means there's not enough fuel. It's burning very, very hot, and it actually will create like a white color. It's just too hot. That's why you'll see your muffler will start glowing red sometimes if you're too lean, or you, like James is saying, you see it'll pop because it doesn't know when to fire, because now there's not enough fuel for the correct timing to react and burn when it's supposed to. It's looking for something to burn, and it's like, okay, I'll just burn it when I can, you know?
Yeah, because they say sometimes when you backfire, there's unburnt gas that's not ignited, and all of a sudden it hits the exhaust valve.
Well, that's why they have those, what they call them, anti-dieseling solenoids, because when you shut an engine off, it's still pumping, it's still sucking fuel, you know? So you got a cherry red muffler. Not Briggs, Kohler commands are known for this. Every Kohler command I've ever owned, even with the anti-dieseling solenoid, they call them anti-backfire, you shut that engine off, give it about a second and a half, and boom, every single time.
Yeah. You know, because I had that Kubota and it was doing that. But the thing is, I learned on my little girls, I idled down and let it stay idled for at least a minute before I shut it off.
Well, so I'll shut the fuel off, Robert. I'll just let it run out. Just shut the fuel off and let it die. That's all.
Well, like I said, I run the, you know, I bring it down to idle. Then, you know, I shut off. Now, some of my engines have fuel shut off, but some don't. You know, I would put a fuel shut off on my OPs, but you have to.
That's my main complaint about these newer engines, these Power More and all these other ones. I don't know if you've seen that, Jim, where they've got that stupid in-tank filter, the nipple that screws in. It's got a fuel filter it's built into the nipple that comes out of the tank, but there's no fuel shut off. None. These newer engines have nothing.
Well, it's the same too. Even with like carbs that don't have a bowl drain, like I look at that and I'm like, who designed this? Because if you get a tiny bit of water in there, and no bowl drain, you got to take the thing apart. And a lot of people aren't even going to deal with the bowl drain, but you think about it, no fuel shut off, no bowl drain. I mean, that stuff should be standard on anything. You know, no questions asked, and an oil sensor for that matter.
Yeah. I actually talked to a Tecumseh engineer one time and asked him why they did away with the bowl drain. You know what the answer was? Fires. Leaks. Too many leaks causing fires. And I was like, really? He goes, yep.
Yep. I see that a lot too. Like even like with the Honda EU2000, you read the reviews, the biggest complaint I've seen is it's leaking fuel. It's leaking fuel. And it's like, well, yeah, the bowl drain isn't tight, you know, and they designed it specifically to be drained. And they even put a hose on it.
The hose, they got that blue hose. Yeah, that little clear blue hose. Yep.
To minimize the fire hazard. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's a liability. But if that were the case too, you'd think they'd put better fuel lines on the machines anyway, because those things always eventually rot. And
it's funny. We talked before about pilot jets and how it sort of changed the way we work on these engines now. I worked on an EU2000 about a year and a half ago, and I didn't realize about enlarging the pilot jet. And the guy called me up maybe 2 months ago and said, you know, it runs good, but once in a while it'll hunt. And I just said to him, bring it by. Literally, I didn't even have to take the thing apart. I was able to get the pilot jet out. Don't ask me how, because the EU is so tight. That the air box assembly on that thing is a nightmare, you know. But I was able to get the pilot jet out, drill it to about 17 thousandths, and it just ran sweet.
Yeah. I'm fitting to show you something. See that?
All right, hey, your buddy Arch is here, Robert. Arch's Garage is on.
Yeah.
What's that, James? Jerry can?
Nah, that's the old school gas tank back in the day.
Like a horror movie.
Yeah, but it's the fire cord tank that Snapper used to have on the mowers. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put it on this.
Oh, there you go.
I can have two fuel tanks, but you know, you talking about the Tecumseh engines. I have a Tecumseh 6-horse formula on a Gravely string trimmer.
Yeah, but wait, wasn't the formula the mini bike engine though?
Well, I believe it might be. That's it. Yeah, let me see if I can uncover it.
All right, David, we'll see you on Pet Taste tomorrow.
Yeah, this is it.
Hold on. Yeah, because I thought the formula was. Oh, it's a vertical. Okay.
Yeah. But the only thing I don't like about it,
What is that grass screen on top? I know. What is that?
that's a finger screen.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
But you see where the air filter is?
Yeah.
The only thing bad about that, I had to put a fuel shut off, because if I tilt the thing backwards,
Oh, it'll start pouring fuel out. Yeah.
yeah, will pull fuel into the darn
Air cleaner.
air filter. Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and it's a miracle that they still make original Briggs-Smith Tecumseh parts.
Oh yeah. Well, no. Tecumseh. Remember, Tecumseh sold the small engine. They stopped making the small engines, but they still have factories in Mexico and Brazil that make their parts. So parts are still being made, and from what I understand, tons of existing made in USA Tecumseh parts exist too in a lot of the distributors. So I mean, my dealer now gets parts all the time. The needles and seats I bought from him still say made in USA. So they haven't really made those in 12 years, but there's still so much inventory around. But then the newer Tecumseh parts that you find will say either made in Brazil or made in Mexico.
Yeah.
Because there are still factories that still make, because remember, just like when Volkswagens, were made in Mexico until a couple of years ago, the Bugs, they still make a lot of that stuff in the foreign countries.
Yeah. And that's a crying shame. I mean, I've had only 2 Tecumseh engines that give me issues, but I wish they were still around, because all you have now is Briggs & Stratton and Kohler.
Well, yeah, but remember too, the Chonda engines, we all yell and scream, oh, junk, but you know what? The damn things run forever. Say what you will, that Honda design. I hate the angled engine block where you have to take the whole thing apart just to do anything, but it's a proven design. You open one of those Hondas up, there's nothing in there. I mean, a little governor, the connecting. I mean, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's bulletproof.
Yeah. Because what was it? Now, like what that Yamaha engine that James put on that generator, I'm like,
the RD360.
I'm like, well, that's hard to find. You got Kawasaki and you have Subaru, but a Yamaha engine, I'm like,
well, they were common on rigid generators and some other stuff too.
Yeah, but you know what? It's outside of that Yamaha, made in China.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Oh,
pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
Japanese
small Yamaha small engines, the plants in China. Yeah.
I bought Subaru, so I'm sure. I mean, Subarus, I think, were all in Japan. Now I'm not sure.
Well, Subaru used to be Robin out of Japan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But because Yamaha was known for their pianos and other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were more
their newer, smaller stuff is just, made in China.
But
I worked on one Yamaha snow thrower over the years. It was built like a tank. It was really built well. It's just that the parts were like Kawasaki, ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw that Yamaha I worked on, the older one. It was probably late 80s, early 90s. But for a second, I thought I was going to need a carb. Took a look. Yep, carb's available. $300.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. McCuney?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. That was the one you had the vapor lock issue?
No, that one actually, I think someone had a bug or something had made a nest in the emulsion tube. So I have some sort of block with emulsion tubes. Usually it's this afterthought. And sure enough, that tube was just jammed. It was packed.
I was going to say, they'd have to go in from the throat of the carb and work down, right?
Yeah.
To get to it, yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Now, the worst I had with bugs was mud daubers in a Tecumseh engine on a PowerMate generator made a nest in the breather hose in the Tecumseh valve cover, and it was spewing oil out of the governor shaft, just pissing out oil. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I felt the hose. It was solid. So I took it off. It was full of dirt from a mud dauber. Yeah, the wasp. So I
Yeah.
took all that out there, and it was fine.
Yeah, no, similar to, it was another Mikuni, but on a Subaru. Like, I don't know if you've worked on any of those, but the bowl vent, right?
Yep.
The way that it vents is kind of up behind the gasket on the airbox side, and then it shoots down behind the gasket. So, I cleaned this carb like twice, and flooded like crazy. Like, put a new needle in, everything.
Because it wasn't venting. Yeah.
Would not stop flooding. I mean, it was flooding severely. Finally peeled the gasket off to check out that vent line, completely packed, with mud and crap. And
what did it went back of the air cleaner and in through a tube or something?
They what?
How was it routed through the air cleaner box?
Oh no, the vent? I'll show you. Hold on. There it is. That right there.
Oh wow, look at that.
So it's covered by a gasket. You can't see it.
Oh, okay. And that was full of dirt?
Yeah, it was completely packed all the way down, and then of course through the hole.
Wow.
But the carb came off. The gasket was perfectly intact and stuck on, so I just left it alone.
Sure.
But yeah, apparently if the bowl vent is clogged, it just fills up a little bit and then pushes it right out the emulsion tube, and it never shoots the needle off. I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know either. But like you said, those expensive Mikuni carburetors, it's just crazy.
Yeah, and they run lean. Like I don't want to say bad things, but because they're all run lean, like every carburetor is lean, but these are like, even when they're perfectly clean, like you can't find any speck of anything, they're still just a touch too lean.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's what they do on purpose.
Oh, what? And now this is a weird one. My guy worked for at this restaurant in Griffin. He had a Generac pressure washer. This was back when they were red. Well, I get out there, get it thing running. Well, the oil sensor's bad. I'm like, I had to unplug the oil sensor before the thing would stay running. I'm like, but he wanted to convert it. They had the wand that you screwed in and out for the fan on the pressure washer. Hell, he wanted to convert it to quick connect. I don't know if he ever did it or not.
Well, some of the newer ones have that one piece one where you just turn it and you can get like a fan or versus the quick connect, like it almost looks like an air fitting, with those little tips.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you don't get that the different color tips, you got the red, the green, the white,
yellow,
and the black. Yeah. If you don't get them properly seated in the end of the wand and you go to squeeze that trigger, bing, like, where'd it go?
Where'd it go? Yep.
You got to watch though. I remember on mine when I first bought it, I think is it the yellow tip? Which is the smallest one? I think it's yellow or maybe it's red.
Yeah.
But anyway, you could actually drill through wooden siding with it if you kept it on there.
Oh, I think it's the red one. Yeah.
It's like a needle point. It's actually acts like a drill.
Yeah. But like I said, and one time my pressure washer wouldn't do nothing. I'm like, what the fool going on here? And I finally pulled the ding tip off and I looked, I'm like, oh, I see the problem. I couldn't see through it. It had dirt. I'm like, because they sent a little wire with the pressure washer to run down through there, because if it gets just a molecule of dirt that you can't see except with a microscope, it will clog it up. I'm like, oh, no wonder.
The biggest problem I see with pressure washers lately is people that have well water. The screens that filter the water going into the pump are always oxidized, white, and full of trash and garbage.
Yeah. But now, my Simpson pressure washer, I love it. But the day the pump went out, I called Simpson. They gave me the name of 3 different places near me. I call them up. Oh, sir, we can work on the engine, but we will not touch the pump.
Yeah.
So I said, fine. I took it to Northern Tool. They put a different pump on me for me. I could rebuild the AAA triplex pump if I want to, but some people, they won't touch
but
them.
Robert, was it just the unloader valve, or what was it? What was the problem with it? Because usually it's unloader valves in most of those.
Well, I'm trying to think what the guy told me, because he took it apart and looked at it. He could pretty much tell right off the bat what it was, or something had broke in it. I forgot what it was, but I got the pump, but it's just trying to find somebody or make myself get out there and take my time to rebuild it, take it apart, order the parts, and rebuild it.
Yeah, but you know what, though, a lot of times, though, when I see pumps, if the pump's $150 and the parts are $97, I'm going to buy a new pump. I'm just going to throw it up.
Yeah. Because I think all told, my bill's $165. So much for the pump.
The price of the pressure washer.
But, you know.
And I had another customer of mine, he ended up, and people don't realize this, don't hook up your pressure washer to your hot water line. I had a customer, he thought he was going to do steam pressure washing of his engine. So he takes his hot water line in his basement, hooks it up to the sink, puts on the pressure washer, and for about 10 minutes, it's working great. He's pressure washing his hot rod engine, getting all the grease off. All of a sudden, the pump dies. Yeah, why did it die? He melted all the O-rings because he put scalding hot water through the pump. I mean, the water going through the pump is to cool the pump. You don't put 190-degree water through it.
Yeah.
So
those pumps run very hot. I always worry about that, keeping it cool water.
And even running it, even when you're testing it, you have to make sure water's running through it. I mean, I've seen a few videos, and even our friends on here that do it, and they're running the motor for 2, 3, 4 minutes with no water in it. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd do that.
Yeah. But now, that's the question of the day. This guy has a Northern Tool dual temperature pressure washer. Now, I'm like, how in the fool does a cat pump tolerate running hot water? How long can you run the hot water through that before it, but it's got a cat pump on it. I'm like, because he's spending $4,000 or $5,000 for this unit.
Yeah, but is it a hot water washer?
Well, it's hot and cold.
Okay, no, but I'm saying the hot water ones are made with the special compound in the retaining rings and quad rings and all that stuff where they can take it. But the stuff that we work on, the cold water is made to cool the pump, all right, as well as keeping everything cool.
So in other words, Northern Tool, it's got a Honda engine on it. He's also running ethanol-free gas in it, because I said $4,000 to $5,000 for this unit.
Wow.
Plus, then every now and then you got biodiesel fuel to heat. It's got the spiral coal, and you can see down in there that heats the hot water. It don't
my
take
buddy's
long.
got one. Kerosene heats it. He actually has kerosene.
Yeah, but like I said, we used it one day to clean the filters on the cooktop ventilation system. I tell you what, that joker, it didn't play. It got that grease off quick.
Yeah, Rusty's saying that the nickel head cap pumps, you can put hot water through them. That's good to know.
Yeah, well, I said, Northern Tool, they had this built. It got the Honda engine, but apparently they went to cat pump and said, we're going to be running hot water through it.
Yeah.
Can y'all build us that? Apparently they asked, could they build a pump to tolerate, depending on how long you're going to run hot water through it. Yeah. And I have seen we had a thing at school, this thing, it wasn't a pressure washer, but it was a steam cleaner. It did the same thing as a hot water. It had a spiral tube inside.
Rusty made a good comment too. A lot of the commercial ones, they'll actually heat the water after the pump. So you're keeping the pump cool and then pressurizing the output. So it's a good that way you don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
And I seen somewhere they had pressure washers that go up to what 75, 8,500 psi. I'm like, ooh,
Oh,
yeah. Don't put your hand in front of that. I did that.
my buddy had an airless paint sprayer, and he actually went like this. He cut the tip of his finger off.
Ooh.
It was and where it cut the finger, it injected paint into his skin, and they had to go in there and surgically remove it. And I was like, it's just one of these airless paint sprayers, but it had wicked pressure. It was enough to literally cut the tip of his finger off. Crazy.
Yeah, because they places that do that superheated steam, you can hear it, but you have to look way up to see the steam, because that down near the bottom, you don't know where it's at unless you walk along with a stick. And if you see that stick cut in two, it's like, yep, there's the steam, but you got to look way up in the air to see it. And you might not damn realize it until you walk through, and it's like, oops. But you don't have to worry about bleeding because it cauterizes the wound.
There you go. Casey, we'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Have a good night.
But, you know.
All right. Hey, I'm going to hit it, guys. It's already almost 11 o'clock. I've been on for over 2 hours. Amazing. Oh, my God. But,
I can't. Yeah, well.
Yeah. You want any closing words, Jim?
No. Well, yeah, I agree. It's cold. I can't wait for things to warm up.
Let me see what it is here. It was just 13 degrees. Let me see what it's showing right now. Wait a minute. Yeah, let me see. Yep.
Y'all need spacesuits.
13.
Y'all need spacesuits.
Started talking myself into all day coming out here to work on these things because they're almost done. But I'm like, maybe I'll just wait a week. It's so cold.
Well, let me ask you, though, with the pending storm that we're getting, if it turns into a nor'easter, will you see a lot more demand then? Will you run out of power in your area?
Actually, that's a good point. The first storm we got this year, I think I sold 5 or 6, like before, during, and after. So
what are you hearing about it? Now I'm hearing it's not going to be Sunday night. It's pushed into Monday night.
Yeah, I haven't. The forecast today said Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the weather recently. I actually saw an alert here. I don't know if you follow the Hudson Valley weather. Probably not, because you're a little further east.
I just use WeatherBug or whatever, and it tells you. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, but they have a good forecast. They just did a live stream on the storm, so I'm going to watch that. But yeah, maybe I need to listen to you.
Yeah, it looks like Monday, Tuesday, 31 to 34 degrees. So big flake, perfect weather.
Nice.
Yeah. The thing
and I told my boss, I said, if we get a lot of snow, I'm just taking the day off. I'm going to play in the snow.
More snow, Angel?
Yeah.
I've got like 7 weeks of vacation banked up. So if I need to take a couple days to play in the snow, no problem.
Yeah. Doing a snow angel with no shoes on. He goes out. Oh, I'm cold.
You and about 10 other people. In fact, Jason Pate texted me. He's like, "Where's your shoes?"
Yeah.
Nah, but like I said, I hope don't nobody go without power, but still people gonna make a run on gasoline and stuff. Be like, And the thing
Robert,
is,
I think our friend Rusty, Robert, I think he says he knows you or he bumped into you. If you look in the comments, he says he thought he bumped into you in Griffin, Georgia. Rusty Rooster.
Well, I don't know that.
He's got a shop. Rusty fixes small engines, so I don't know. Maybe he said you cross paths, so maybe you have. Because you said Griffin's right there, right? You're by Griffin.
Yeah, I was in Griffin. Rusty Rooster.
Look at his videos. You'll see what he looks like. Go to his videos, Robert. You'll see what he looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I will Google that. But I think he probably there was some guy on Wilson Road in Griffin. He used to work for Walker Concrete, and he did small engine repair, and he would take on anything.
Yeah, he said he's from Fayetteville. He was living in Fayetteville, he said.
Well, I don't know. I'll have to Google him and see. But like I said, like I said, I hope y'all don't get too bad of,
I hope we get a blizzard. I hope we get 4 feet. I love the stuff. I do.
Yeah.
Shut down the town. stay at home,
nice to have
put a
day.
fire in the fireplace, have some fun, you know?
All
All right, guys, I'm going to end it here.
All
Robert,
right.
thank you for coming. Jim, always a
Later.
pleasure. And
Yes.
hopefully we'll see
Hey.
those Generacs getting sold soon. But
Yay.
tomorrow, actually, what is it? It's 11 o'clock. So in 9 hours, I'll be on Paté's with Christine and Jason probably. Well, I'll be in the audience. But
Yeah.
all right, let me head off here. Jim, thank you so much. Robert, thanks. Everyone in the chat, Rusty, Casey, Arch, everybody. We will see you guys over the weekend, I guess. Take care, everybody.
All right. Later.